I recently attended Brad Sumrock's Rat Race to Retirement apartment syndication meeting in Dallas. If you're wanting to get started investing in real estate, being around other like-minded people is a great way to jumpstart your success. Now, in case you missed the interview with Brad and I, you can check it out up here. Now, one of the terms that he discussed when it comes to risk management involving apartment investing is something called the interest rate cap. Now, it's important to understand how the debt and the financing works before you begin investing in syndications. Now, if you're not familiar with what an interest rate cap is, then you will be after this video. And if you're new to this channel, hi, I'm Dr. Jeff Anzalone, a periodontist that's on a mission to get you out of the rat race as well with passive income creation. Go ahead and download the passive income guide I put together just for you below this video. All right, let's start off with the burning question. Jeff, what's an interest rate cap? Well, an interest rate cap is actually a risk management tool that limits how much a variable interest rate can change over a set period of time. This is not to be confused with a cap rate, which is a totally different metric. Now, an interest rate cap essentially serves as an insurance policy for both the property owner and the lender against potential increases in rates by basically locking in a maximum loan interest rate. Now, what it does, it gives borrowers the security of a cap on interest rates, okay? So it gives them security on that, hey, there's a cap, there's a ceiling on interest rates while still maintaining the opportunity to benefit, so they can benefit from an interest rate decline in exchange for an upfront premium, okay? So they're paying a premium up front, so they can rest assured that, you know what, my interest rate isn't going to go as high as whatever it's set for, but if it drops over the course of the loan, it can keep dropping, and there's no limit to that. So a floating or a variable interest rate can actually change during the life of the loan. Now, this is unlike a fixed interest rate, which actually remains constant. Now, if you're a homeowner, it's likely that you've taken out a home loan that's either a 15 or a 30-year fixed rate, which means basically it's going to remain the same over the course of that loan, whether it's 15 years or 30 years, unless, of course, you refinance. Since an increase in a loan's interest rate will likewise increase the payment due, a cap can prevent an unaffordable increase in the payment. All right, which leads us to this question. What determines the cost of the cap interest rate? So typically for any given interest rate environment, the interest rate cap payment is driven basically by three variables. The first one is the notional. And the notional amount is basically it's the cap size, or the dollar amount that's covered by the cap. So this amount typically equates to the loan amount. Now, generally, a cap with a larger notional is more expensive than one with a smaller one. The second one is the term. And the term is basically the cap's duration, which is the length of time it's protecting. Okay, so it's the length of time it's protecting the borrower. Now, as you can imagine, the longer the term, the higher the cap price. Pricing doesn't linearly increase with the term. So for instance, the third year of a cap is often more expensive than the first 2 years combined. Again, the longer the term, the higher the cap price. And the third is something called the strike rate. And what the strike rate is the interest rate at which the cap provider begins to make payments to the cap purchaser. So in other words, anything above this strike rate level will provide a financial benefit to the borrower. So as you can imagine, lower strike caps are more expensive, as it's more likely that the cap provider will need to make a payment during the term of the cap. All right, next let's talk about how these interest rate caps can be structured. Now, interest rate caps are usually taken out for periods of roughly 2 to 5 years. And when they take these out, they hedge risk to both parties involved. You got the lender and the borrower. Okay, so they hedge the risks to both parties against market fluctuations by doing this. They add a third party, and the third party is the cap provider to the equation. So you got the lender, okay, you've got the borrower, and now they bring in this cap provider. Now, this third party is going to guarantee that they'll make any interest payments over that strike rate that we talked about. So again, it's going to protect the borrower and it's going to protect the lender from a tremendous rise in rates. And this provides two things. The first one is it makes the lender feel more confident that they're going to get paid. Okay, so it makes the lender feel more confident that the payments will never be missed, even if the interest rates increase dramatically. Okay, the second thing it does, it provides a peace of mind to the borrower, knowing that they won't have to worry about paying extremely high interest rate payments if rates go up over time. So again, it benefits the lender and it benefits the borrower. Now, an interest rate cap can be structured differently as lenders have flexibility in customizing them. And the ways that they do that is this. They do it by the overall limit. So lenders may choose to set up an overall an overall interest rate limit that the loan can never exceed. So for instance, if they're paying like 3% now, they may set an overall limit to be 6%. So no matter what happens, no matter if the rates go up to 30%, they'll never pay more than that 6% or whatever that overall limit is. Okay. The second thing is the incremental limit increases. So rate caps can also be structured to limit incremental increases in the loan's interest rates. So an example of this is an ARM or an adjustable rate mortgage. So these have a period in which the rate can adjust, they can readjust and increase if mortgage rates rise. So let's look at those in a little bit more detail, the adjustable rate mortgage. So what these are a loan instrument that basically carries a cap without a fixed interest rate. So throughout the duration of the loan, the interest rate can change based on the movements in an index rate, such as the Treasury, securities, or the cost of the funds index. Now, there's actually three types of caps. So the adjustable rate mortgage typically includes three types of caps that control how the interest rate can adjust. The first one is the initial adjustment cap. Now, this determines how much the rate can increase the first time it moves after the fixed rate expires. And this typically ranges from 2 to 5%. So in other words, the new rate can't be 2 to 5 percentage points higher than the initial rate during the fixed rate period after the first time it changes. That's the initial adjustment cap. The second one is the subsequent adjustment cap. Now, this particular one refers to how much the interest rate can increase in the periods of adjustment that follow. So it's commonly set roughly at 2%, which means the new rate can't be more than 2 percentage points higher than the previous rate, okay? And then the third one is the lifetime adjustment cap. And this one sets the maximum interest rate ceiling. So in other words, it's how much the rate can increase throughout the life of the loan. And most of the time, this is set around 5% roughly, so this means the rate can't be more than 5 percentage points higher compared to that initial rate. So the bottom line is this: an interest rate cap is a risk management tool for consumers that limits how much a variable interest rate can change over a set period of time. There's no one specific type of cap, and the type of caps that you'll encounter can vary depending on the specific lending product. Now, these ARMs frequently feature an initial adjustment cap, a subsequent or a periodic adjustment cap, and a lifetime adjustment cap. Remember, whenever you're investing in a real estate syndication, it's really important to understand how the debt is structured, okay? So how it's being used to finance the property that you're looking to invest in. And speaking of debt, what I need you to do now is check out this next video over here where I'm going to discuss how to use a debt in order to generate massive amounts of wealth. I'll see you over there.